and so I'm taking it over. And as it stands at the moment, Neil Thurston here and I are both working to sort of regenerate the Ever into sort of doing something for generating energy and to the benefit of the community. So the area of activity that we're looking at is WR10, 11 and 12, and so we're looking at Pershaw, Evesham and Broadway, and sort of the surrounding villages. We're a bit unusual when a lot of community energy groups, they tend to be sort of in cities and built up areas. Being much more rural, it's actually getting points of generation and then getting the electricity to where it's going to be finally used. And so looking at farms and village halls in surrounding villages, and then we're talking to local community buildings and what I'll come to in a minute around the town. We're being supported by developing the project with Midlands Net Zero Hub, Energy Saving Trust and GB Energy. So as part of the community engagement, we've been talking to community centres. We're actually working with Wallace House at the moment. They're very keen to install solar panels on their roof, just basically because of the high electricity bills. And so we're actually, Neil and I are in the process of having monthly meetings with them with updates on what progress we're making and looking at funding options in order to actually try and make it happen. We've also been talking to the Venture Playground, and they are just as a sort of, I think they're having a passive building built in the short term, but eventually their old buildings, they may want some of our sort of resources attached to the old buildings. But in the meantime, they're building us a cycle generator to charge phones and laptops, so that we can go along to shows and demonstrate what we're trying to do. We've been talking to sports centres, Evesham Town Football Club, been to visit them, and they've expressed an interest in, because they have such a high electricity bill on that site of theirs. Local village halls. Schools tend to have a different project. There's schools with solar, but we're working with TDMS, looking at a project to work with the pupils to develop a turbine to put in the river that we could then perhaps generate enough electricity to light a Christmas tree during Christmas time. So that just to promote what we're trying to do and working with the school, and there obviously pupils are able to learn about renewable energy and sort of new technology. Okay. Basically, community energy has the impact of it. There are three main areas. I would say resilience, the local economy, and our community. And so I just sort of go into each of those individually. Energy being the lifeblood of everything that we do, and and there's so many problems with sort of the supply of energy. We're seeing sort of at the moment with prices going up and down and being very variable. One thing with community energy is that basically once it's installed in the community, it stays stable. So the prices are stable, and it will continue without being influenced from outside forces. So geopolitics doesn't affect community energy. It also acts as a backup to the grid system that we're all using at the moment, and so it increases the resilience in that it makes us it can enhance and support what the national grid are already supplying. The local economy, once we looking to install start an installation, once everything arrives on site, everything then is local jobs. And we're looking to create local jobs. We have good relationships with local companies that are installing solar, working with heat source pumps, and they so by the work that we're doing, we will ensure that those jobs remain, or actually create, if we can get big enough, to create new jobs for them. And also what we're doing, and once we get off the ground at the moment, Neil and I are volunteers, but ultimately we want this to be sort of actually generating an income so that we can provide new jobs, because the whole system will need to be administered in the long term, and so then there will be bills to pay and whatever. Power from is cheaper, so we're looking at about 30 or 40% cheaper electricity than you would get on the grid from community energy, and so that means that fuel poverty is reduced. So somebody sat in a cold house is going to have their budget's going to be increased in how much they can spend on heating and providing a comfortable and healthy environment for them. And also for businesses, it's going to enable local businesses to invest, and because it's a stable and it's not going to change the price, they can look longer term to actually invest in the future. For our community, basically we're a community benefit society. So we're registered with Co-op UK, and we are a not-for-profit organisation. Because we're a cooperative, we actually have sort of rules and regulations that we have to abide by. We're also registered with the Financial Conduct Authority, and have to submit our accounts to be audited each year to ensure that we're abiding by the regulations that of the Community Benefit Society status. And once we after investments, we'll be looking to share our surplus funds, and people like you in this room will be the sort of people that have the links to the community that would be be able to take that funding and to distribute it to suitable causes within the community. Our business model is basically that we provide free of charge install the solar panels, what we're focusing mainly on at the moment, and so the building owners or occupiers have no costs to themselves at all. Basically we raise the money ourselves and through a share offer, and we would, by raising the share offer, we would encourage local people to invest in what we're trying to do, and so they put the money into us. We then give a guaranteed rate of interest on that, and eventually pay the money back to them. So it's a way that they can invest in the local community work that's taking place, and also get some return on their capital. As I already mentioned, it's cheaper electricity, and certainly so the benefits are for business and domestic housing. So just as a recap, local benefits, cheaper electricity, skilled local jobs, sharing surplus funds with the community, the resilient energy supply to create stable prices, and local ownership. So by talking to you today, I hope I've given you an overview about what community energy is about, what we're trying to do as an organisation within the community. Talking to you, I'm hoping that we can utilise your networks that you have, and so in order to try and sort of have synergies between what we're trying to do, what you're trying to do, and working together. We're running events. We're going to the Plum Festival and the River Festival. We've got small events ourselves by having sort of drop-in sessions in the pubs or whatever to have sort of cheese and cider or something like that. And we ask you if you've got any projects in the back of your mind that you thought anything to do with energy, or anybody that's doing anything, we'd like to act as a hub in order to attract that interest, and so that we can then help those projects develop, and funding, any funding opportunities, we would be grateful in order that we can sort of administer what we're trying to do at the moment to help with that. We're still always looking for volunteers, so if you come across any people that are interested in volunteer for the sort of stuff that we're doing, and buildings. If you've got any buildings or land that people will that you think that may be of interest for installing renewable energy, then we'd be grateful to hear from you. And basically support. We'd like to support you, what you're doing, and hopefully, basically, we would, sort of love to have some support from the local council in helping us achieve what we're aiming for. So, thank you for letting me sort of say a few words and just sort of outline what we're trying to do. If anyone's got any questions, then I'll try to answer them.
Thank you very much, Tony. That's very interesting. I've got your okay. The only question I wanted to ask was when you talk about harnessing river power.
Yeah.
I did mention only just a few days ago about the weir, and there is a turbine on there.
Yes, there is one just by the house.
But to do us any good to the said trying to power swimming pool. I mean, running the wire or running the to get to anywhere is not very cost effective. I have to concentrate on solar panels, really.
Yeah, we did. Because one of the things with river is that apart from turbines, you can also look at heat pump. And I have spoken to Richhaven, to Matt Barker, and he was. So we've been looking at, and I think that they decided it was too expensive, but whether we could actually put a heat pump in the river down below the leisure centre, and then power, get power into the leisure centre that way. And that's what's happened with the hydroelectric scheme in Herschel.
John, what do you
firstly, I'd like to commend you. It's really refreshing for someone to come to this council and offer us an opportunity that I think we should snap up. You know what I mean? Firstly, I've been looking into what Germany are doing with their car parks. And they're funding all their public buildings through putting solar panels above all their car parks, which are quite high, which act as a barrier. Is that something you do?
It's something we looked at, but actually the thing is with solar panels is that when you install them, the expensive bit's the scaffolding. The panels are relatively cheap nowadays, and they've halved in price in the last year. And the thing is with overcarbon, it's actually the frames that you have to build. And that's the cost. With the panels on the top, they're not the expensive, it's the building.
It's the building of the frame, but it's an initial cost.
Once
that cost is done.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? These frames are made. I mean, how Germany obviously looked at this. They looked at the cost because it was initially a heavy cost up front.
Yeah.
But then the benefits outweigh themselves in 15 to 20 years, where the frames can then be reused, and as such. Where the benefit has come from is public charging points for electric cars. That's where I see the business here, because we're then selling that to visitors that come to the town, also adds to the kitty. So you have a double benefit. You have cheaper electricity and making money from that. So I think it's something that we should look at.
Oh yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? Especially with devolution coming up, it's going to give us a massive opportunity to do things like this, put things in and make the town cheaper for the people that live here.
Has this project sprung up out of Sesame?
Yes. So
right,
actually,
so there's a direct link there.
So Mike Parker was and Nick were involved in that.
I recognise Mike's name. from them. So I wasn't aware that actually that I did worry that perhaps we were going to try and run together, and I thought, well, what's all
No, that was the thing, because they'd already set up, and Mike Parker said, he's 87 now, he said, he's got other things to think about.
Yeah, well, when I last spoke to him, it might have been about 3 or 4 years ago. So so he was.
No, Mike's behind us, and I'm really regular contact. He's acting as an advisor for us.
Okay, so I'm really pleased about the hydro initiatives. Thinking about around the hydro initiatives. We live right next to them here, pretty much, and I've thought that is a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've noticed, having done some research ages ago, maybe last year, was that we didn't have many hydroelectric mini power stations, but they've sprung up over the last few years with a lot of private businesses. So from a few hundred to I think 2,500 or 2,551, something like that was the last figure. And these are all private businesses that are realising that they can get something sustainable.
The thing is, certainly for us, and we're at that early stage, and so solar is a cheap way of getting our feet under the table and getting projects off the ground. Hydroelectric is very capital intensive, and in order to justify that, we need to be sort of have better feeding export tariffs.
Yeah, of course.
And so we need to have all the electricity going into being sold locally, because where we can get sort of about 16 pence per kilowatt hour is what we're aiming for what we supply. If you do it in an export tariff, you're talking about 8 pence. And it really, and I know of a scheme, a hydroelectric scheme that was set up in another part of the country, and they were really struggling, because basically they're being paid 8 pence, and they hadn't looked at it sort of beforehand in order to make sure that they were selling back electricity.
Would you have to apply to the DNO for permissions? Is that part of the permission gathering?
In the river, you mean?
For any of them?
Yeah.
All of them? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So would that then put a burden on people who wanting to sort of get onto a grant scheme or pay for their own solar panels on their own house? If I'm talking in a few years' time, if there's a lot of sort of DNO applications that have gone through in Evesham, say for example, just limiting it to this particular town, because sometimes the DNO will turn things down on the basis that it could overstretch the grid. Is that a factor that you're worried about?
Yeah, and that's why ideally when we're generating electricity, we want to sell it into the building that we're on and locally, so that we're actually not burdening the grid as such. So that's,
and the other question I have is, what about battery storage to go with the solar panels?
Yeah.
We're actually doing it the other way around. We're actually going for battery first. We put those plans into motion. Hopefully within the next couple of 2-3 months we should have our battery installed and be on the correct tariff and all that business here, and DNO permission and all of that. So is that something that you're looking at? Is battery storage?
It is something. It is quite expensive as well.
Fogstar are the cheapest. They're based in Redditch. You might like to form a partnership with them. They're based in Redditch. They build their own batteries in China. It's to their specifications. So for a 16.5 kilowatt battery, it's £2,000. It's just less than £2,000. So so that's what we're going with is Fogstar. Sorry.
I've been on permission.
No, sorry, it's just that this is right at my screen.
Short, but we have a larger
No. I apologise.
Yeah, that's good. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. You said earlier that you're looking for investors.
Yes.
So can you talk me through the timeline on this?
So basically,
how much you want, how much you get back, and just
so basically what we're aiming to get a grant from the Midlands Net Zero Hub at the moment. We're applying for that, and so I think the funding starts at the beginning of April, and so once we get that, that's going to be a couple of months.
Is that you're being told you can get?
Well, that's if we get it.
Okay.
So it'll be a couple of months, and then there will be a stage 2 that we had applied for, and that's just basically to get the share off, the sort of funding for setting up the share offer. So we're probably looking, well, it's probably conservatively we're looking at a year or something like that down the line before we could get something off the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. But with Wallace House, they're so keen to go. I think they would sort of support us if we were able to sort of do something.
Yeah, I'm
similar
sure.
than that.
Yeah, sounds like a great scheme.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions, everybody. And thank you, Tony. It's been very enlightening, but I've got to cut you short now a little bit because you have got a large agenda.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm sure.
no, just thank you for the opportunity.
If you leave information with the town clerk or whatever, if anybody else wants to contact you and go with the project with you,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just a quick one. Have you got a website?
Yes, you have, yes. So it's ever.coop, so EVR.COOP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now, is there anybody else from the general public that wanted to say a few words? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. You know, I attend the meetings to sort of find out what's going on in the local community. So if I'm out and about, I feel more informed about what's going on with the councillors, and I can hopefully sometimes share some of the messages and some of the work that we're doing. I know you're all volunteers, and you know, coming from a perspective as a resident, I come to the meetings, and I've been doing this for a couple of years, not every time, but I try and come to as many as I can. What I will say is that it's really, I think it's a letdown for you all, that sometimes we don't know what you guys do. There's not the communications out there to say the good work and the volunteering or the projects that you're undertaking. Now, some of you are really good at social media, some aren't so. So, and I know that this is a problem because it's an extra job to communicate, but I wondered if you'd consider, or have ever considered, I'm sure it's been done in the history of this town hall before, but whether you consider a quarterly or some sort of regular parish newsletter that could be shared online on the website. And I know that would take some organisation, but if there was a couple of councillors that would be willing to make that happen and do it from a non-party perspective, so it's not about your party, it's about you as a councillor. I can't, that's just my perspective, whether it should be party-based or not, but I think it would be really good to help inform the public. I would share that then as well, because you know, we've seen a lot of negativity in many parish councils up and down the country, but this one has really struggled over the last 2 years, and I think it's doing real harm. The public relations of this council has been damaged. So I know that there's a lot of good work that goes on, but nobody talks. There's not enough talking about it. So that's my question. Would you be prepared to run a newsletter?
Okay, I think Julie has got something to say on that.
We've discussed this at the Evesham Town Plan Committee meeting on several occasions. I've also had individual discussions with our town clerk. I think it's something that we would like to do. It's just when we can get it off the ground.
Okay.
Because of manpower.
Yeah, so it does take volunteers, and I would be happy to help get it set up, but I wouldn't manage it or anything like that, but I would volunteer a couple of hours. But I think there's people around this table that can do it, and you don't need me, but it just takes a couple of people to get together and say, once a quarter, each councillor submits a little bit of parish news for what they've done, the work that they've done, whether it's a litter peak or whatever it is, but just share, because I know that, you know, you can't all share tonight. Like I've asked the town clerk before, when we come to a council meeting, cannot each councillor just say what they've done in the last month? And as the town clerk pointed out, if you did that, these meetings would go on till midnight probably. So that's not possible. But it doesn't reflect well when you watch this on YouTube or when you look at it on social media, because a lot of these councillors around this table don't speak. But we know you're doing things, but it's not out there in the community. So how do we know? And I think it's important in this day and age that the community are aware of the good work that happens and not just the negative.
But I think what we do is I'll join with Julie on that, and when we have our next town plan meeting, we'll probably discuss it further and try and take it a little bit further down the line. I think it's a good idea, but like you say, it's volunteers and putting it together. I'm sure somebody in the office could print something out or get something on a computer for us.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be printed though.
No, I mean, you know, onto a media platform.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in the public that wants to say anything? Yes, please. State your name and say what it is, please.
It's Nikki. Nikki.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Before I ask a question, I just want to say first of all thank you to Sam for organising the DFIB training at the weekend. Very informative, very helpful. Thank you for that. Also, thank you to Councillor Nishegi as well for sorting out the sewage issues in the town centre when it was seeping up through the pavement. Also, I know she's still working hard to get the issues at the leisure centre sorted as well, so hopefully maybe if others could get on board with that and put some pressure on Severn Trent perhaps if need be to get that progressed a little bit as well. My question first of all is there was £5,000 spent for the storage of Christmas lights. I'm wondering why at £416 a month when we've got a contract with the people who supply them, why are they not storing them? Why is it costing us £5,000 to store the lights? Is question one. Also, on the same document, there was £1,000 spent on a credit card, but there's absolutely no information as to what that £1,000 was spent on. Again, wondering why and what that's for. And on the Town Council website, there is no financial information since just before December. Wondering again, why not? I thought it was meant to be on there and updated on a if not regular monthly basis. Why is it not on there? That's it.
Well, I can get back to you. Unless I fire off anything now,
Okay.
we'll get back to you on those next questions. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. If you can state your name and your
Yeah, no problem at all.
Get that to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yes, Aaron.
Can I just come back on a couple of those issues?
Well, yes, quickly. Yeah.
We did actually discuss the updating of the website, making sure information was up to date in the December full council meeting.
Yeah.
So again, not sure why. I mean, it's quite important for the public. We've got so much talking about communication there. And the other issue, because I saw Andrew's thing. If there's time towards the end of the meeting, I'm quite happy to share with councillors about the communication I've had with Severn Trent. Just that was all.
Okay. Thank you for that. Right. Okay. Any other members of the public? Anything else to say?
Yes, no.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to say we've got you down further down the meeting, but you might you might not do your pitch now because it'll save us time at the end.
Fine. I'm not sure if the councillors have had time to review the proposal that we put together, but I'm Mike Bilcliffe. I am a member of Evesham Rugby Club. I look after some of the juniors, coach the juniors. My colleague Doug Payne is the chairman of the club. And the reason we're here is that Doug actually arranged a little while ago a trip over to France to our twin town, Dreux, and took some of the older members to play rugby, really as a way of getting back with the rugby guys that played at Dreux to continue that relationship. Now, after that, we were actually approached by a junior team, the Twin Committee originally actually approached us to say, would you like to come over for a rugby tour in France? So my team, at the time, the under-15 teams at Evesham, we gathered together and we had a weekend over in France. The boys had a wonderful time. The overarching thing about this tour was that it was organised by the Twinning Committee by and large. So Dreux Rugby Club, we have a connection with them anyway. But when we arrived, we were looked after incredibly well by the Twinning Committee at Dreux. We felt a little bit actually as though it was maybe overtaken a little bit because we're simply a rugby team and a team of rugby players. But they were very keen that we should now start to make, to get the relationship back with the Twinning side. As I mentioned, all the guys at Rugby Club, we are very involved in coaching and developing rugby for the town. But they have asked to come back to Evesham for a return trip, which we very much like to host. So based on that, we have done a little bit of fundraising, but it's going to cost us quite a bit of money. And so we're here to ask the council if it would have some of the grant which was originally kept for twinning going forward, which we understand has now lapsed. Certainly to help us out financially, but I think more importantly to see if we can start getting the twinning going again, because France have a very different system to us in the UK. They get support, I think, through the likes of different departments. We have to fund it all ourselves, as we know, so having somebody or having with the enthusiasm or a group of people to start the twinning again, we think would be a great idea. Sadly, it can't be us as a rugby club, but we certainly would have the contacts, and we have, we would be very willing to help get things off the ground should we want to start the twinning again with Drum, particularly. So it's a very short request, really. What we intend to do is the kids and the coaches and the twinning committees, there's going to be 15 or 16 people that belong to the original twinning group coming along. We've found accommodation. We're trying to get them billeted where we can, but we've arranged accommodation for the players and the coaches. We're having an evening here when they arrive on the Friday. So Thursday they arrive very late at night. They're coming to the rugby club for a meal. We're going to meet them there and greet them with the players, our players, and obviously as many twinners as we can get there. On the Friday, we're having a coaching session with a Gloucester Hartbury coach, a county coach, going to come down and coach both sets of boys in the afternoon. We're trying to negotiate with Prince Henry's, because most of the boys go to Prince Henry's to have a couple of hours off school to enjoy that. We're then coming in the evening to have a function here, which of course as many as you would be delighted to have you along as well. Saturday we're playing a match ahead of the first team with their final fixture of the year, and we hope to make them as welcome as possible. It's going to cost the club too much money than we already have, so which is the reason why we're here to ask for the consideration for us to have £2,500 of the grant to support us through through paying for meals and activity we think we're looking for on Friday as well. So please, any questions, Doug and I will try our best to answer.
Yeah, that's very interesting and very heartwarming, because a lot of people were into the Twinning Association when it was going, and I remember my wife's uncle and father, they were very into it. They visited Drew and Nelson as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So, yeah, and if I had the powers of a Mary of France that they have, I would give you the money gladly ahead to the kitty. But I don't have those powers, and we're in jolly old England. But you do have, I believe, if everybody's read the minutes, there is £2,613.27 in the twinning kitty.
Yes.
I think we'll have to just pass a motion that we'll give you that money back. Well, not give you back. We're not exactly a twinning association,
exactly.
But I think you need. I think you need to get that going. I'm sure when people know that there'll be a lot of people that want to join that again and perhaps get it off the ground.
Well, Doug has made contact with Mike Worrell, who was obviously part of the original committee, and also Ted Bradshaw, again, who was, I think was part of originally. They're all getting on in years, as obviously we all are, but I think what we'd really like to see is this could be the start of, a twinning group again. Obviously there's so many benefits that twinning has, as we all know, education, with the sporting element, I guess, of that, but certainly for schools to get involved and everything else. So that would be great.
It's a good starting point.
Yeah.
The Emma wants to ask a question.
Okay, just to repeat what Lewis said, well done for what you're doing. Before I make my points, there's just a simple sort of yes/no answer to the clerk. Do those funds still exist, and are they still ring-fenced given the lapse of time between
Yeah.
So they are still there in a separate reserve account. It's just that I've gone back through finance reports and I've never seen any reference to that money. So
there's a reserve for drilling.
Right, I've not actually seen any reference to that going back.
Anyway.
Last time you would have seen it would have been sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Would have been at the end of the year, not this time last year. It would have been one of the reserves that was listed.
Okay, so That being the case, obviously, because if the answer had been no, then what I was going to say would go down a separate route. But as that money has been ring fenced and for them, but was basically given to the town council, if I'm correct in thinking, as being custodians of their finances because they had ceased to exist as an entity.
But
in which case I propose that we give them the money back from their thing.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting. Yeah. We're voting on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, as the 10 o'clock said,
Can I just there?
Yeah, just very
Are
quickly.
you formed yet as a twinning organisation?
No, we're not. We're not.
So we're going to have to be very careful here. You're about to give money to something that isn't actually official.
Mm.
So I think we're going to have to delay it a little.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, of
Until
course.
you are official, and then we can give you the money
So
officially.
the official part we're coming from is the rugby club only.
Yes,
so
I appreciate
as you
this is
say,
what
we're
I'm
not
hearing.
twinners.
And
And I think what this needs to create is some sort of. Clearly, what we'll be doing is getting as much announcements on social media about what's happening, the fact that there's 16 twinners coming over. So this is what we're hoping to start to bring people out of the woodwork to say, well, we fancy doing some of that.
yeah, I think it's a brilliant
So yeah,
idea.
it is, yeah, no, I understand.
But I just want to make sure the dots are dotted and the T's are
No, I
you know,
understand.
remain crossed.
Absolutely.
That we're about to give you some money and you're not actually affiliated or
No.
set up,
Yes.
and it's a bit of a worry.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Bobby.
Deputy Mayor, there is no worry at all for me on this matter. It's not a case of being set up and being official.
Oh, right. I
This
thought it
is
had to be.
Evesham Rugby Club that's doing an exchange. Evesham Rugby Club exists as an entity. I think absolutely I'm going to second Emma's proposition that we support Evesham Rugby Club with this twinning exchange. It warms my heart that twinning is starting again. I've been very fortunate to visit all three twin towns and I've loved every second of it. And I wish you luck.
Yes. Sorry. No. Yeah, sorry, I beg your pardon. I don't know your name, I forgot. Oh, right, okay, we can get all these in order. Okay, sorry, Karen.
No, I just wanted to ask the question, when the money was handed over from the now redundant Twinning Association, were there conditions attached?
No.
So little
No.
details
They
to
just
check, as is John's
I'm just a
contact
little bit
agreement.
worried. That's all, and I just think we've got to make sure we do everything
So,
correct.
I think it's an excellent idea, but we may want to say it's an excellent idea, and I have to do it in brackets, subject to nailing down the details.
Yeah. Because it's going ahead on the 20th, so Thursday the 23rd is when they arrive.
Yeah.
So we have time to plan the catering and the other sort of cost elements that's
I'm
going to
just
be
conscious we do a lot in charity administrations. If you're not careful, you can trip up very badly. You might
No, I
not be in a
understand.
situation.
We clearly don't want to get in.
Thank you, Stan, for
Thank you.
explaining it a bit better.
Our visitor, young lady. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Sorry,
Just to come-
Emma, she had a hand up first.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to check. So when you said about the Twinning Association, and you said, well, it can't be the rugby club. Why? Why not?
All the volunteers at the rugby club were either working, we have sort of full-time jobs, most of the coaches have their own children. The committee members, we're involved in rugby rather than twinning. And we were thrilled to be so fantastically well entertained. But the twinners were asking us in France, oh great, the twinning started again. We are all too busy to get that away, unfortunately. I think when we retire, possibly it's something we will be involved with, but we all have full-time
So just to be clear, you want the money, but you don't want to do the work for it.
Just very quickly, Emma, because we just
Yeah. Just to. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, sorry.
There's noise going on.
Yeah.
To come back with what Robbie had said and also Stan, I understand the point that they are both making. However, those funds were given to the town council as custodians to then, they didn't keep it themselves. We can never go back to that twinning association to offer them that money because they don't exist. And if another one is formed, they will not be the same entity or the same organisation, even if they have the same name. So by not approving this at this stage, what we're actually saying is that money is going to sit forever and never ever be used, because the whole point of passing it to the town council was so that we made that decision.
Okay, Emma, so I don't
I've
want
made
to put
this
you short now.
proposal in a second.
I take on board what you're saying, and I think we'll just jump this forward from the further on, and we just take a vote now, please.
What are we voting for?
That we give this
But
money.
This is not on the, this is finance and it's not on the agenda.
It's item 10.
It is.
It is.
Item 10.
Yeah, it's bringing forward item 10, and it's at the bottom of the page. And it says the council is asked if it supports the request for funding. And not very quickly, thank you.
Looking at the wrong.
Who actually owns this 2,600 quid now? And the town council can do with whatever they want with it.
We don't know that. That's the problem.
No, I don't. I think.
Oh, I see, right. Yeah.
I think in fairness, the money was given to the town council, as Emma says, as custodians if twinning started up again.
But
No.
Any twinning related matter.
Is that the...
Sorry.
We heard from Mark.
Just to clarify that, when the Twinning Association closed down, as required by their constitution, they transferred all their remaining funds to the town council. We had no obligation to do anything specific with those funds. We could have just put it into the general pot and spent it on lawnmowers or whatever for the cemetery. At the time, though, we chose to set it aside as an earmarked reserve for future twinning activities.
Right.
There's no other obligation on that. We could, if we wanted, vote to change that, but at the time we chose to set it aside for future twinning activities if and when any came forward. This is a potential future twinning activity, so it's a perfectly legitimate use of that funding. So I agree with Robbie. I think this is something we
Thank you
should
for clearing that up.
Sorry, we just take councillor after you.
Yeah.
Quickly.
I think if what Mark has said, I'm not doubting it, but if what Mark has said is correct to the letter, then I do support it.
Okay, but can we bring that item forward, because it's item 10 on the agenda. If you look down it, it's are we going to support this proposal that we give the money that's been in our coffers, as it were, 2,630.
I was seconding
It's
2,500.
It's the amount in the request. That
Well,
we voted
all
on.
I was going to say was we might as well give them all the.
No,
the
so I'm
It's not on
seconding
the agenda.
2,500, which is their request.
No, that's not on the agenda. Is that we are at £2,500. So my proposal is that we give them what they ask for as it is under the amount. That will mean that there should still be £113.27 held for any future occasion for which could
And that is
be
the proposal I'm seconding.
which could
Okay,
be for the purposes of
Okay,
setting
well,
up.
that's very good. So we've got a proposer, we've got a seconder.
No, I proposed it.
All the way around, Bill.
Chairman, who are we giving this money to? The rugby club?
The Evesham Rugby Club
But it
to
should
do
be
their
done to the Twinning
twinning,
Association.
to do their twinning rugby match.
I think it's because it's something that will go towards the
I
twinning.
think it's something
That's why they're going to
we've
give
got to
it.
support, because it'd be really nice if they can get this going
What happens in
and
next
they can do some more events and get more people behind them to get the twinning association back together.
And I think the dinner on the Friday will be the time to do that. So what we'll do is activate this through social media,
Yeah.
through the journal, and
Yeah.
say anybody that's interested, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, the money is going towards feeding.
And if I can
all
come,
the
I'll come and support you on that one. So can we just move on as quickly as we can, because we have got a large agenda. And we've got a proposer, we've got a seconder for 2,500. Can we have a show of hands? I think that's all in favour.
No, it's not.
I'm abstaining because
Oh, okay.
I'm just abstaining.
You're abstaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm voting against.
Oh, sorry.
I would like it
Jim.
limited.
And is against. And Councillor Baxter is abstaining. Okay. So, right, we'll carry on now. Okay. The next part is the announcement by the town mayor. Well, unfortunately, he's not here, so that's going to put a bit of time off. I can just tell you that, as I mentioned before, John is out of hospital. He's, as Robbie says, he's feeling a little bit sorry for himself, and I do know that operation he's had is very painful on his knee. But anyway, we all wish him well, and the card's coming round for you all to sign.
I can say, Bill, when I spoke to him, he was high as a kite on morphine.
Just the other thing was, as a report for the mayor, he had a quiz night the other night, which a few of us attended. The council did very well with its questions. They got the wooden spoon. If you don't know what that means we were the worst on the quiz.
Good job, we didn't go any.
The quiz night itself was a great success. John made £470 for his charities, so I think that's very good. So that's what I done. Now the next item on the agenda is updates from district and county councillors. So we'll start with Mark Cooge, if I may, Mark.
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful advance notice of like 5 minutes before the meeting of asking for a district council report.
You're welcome, but it's
anyway,
not a minute,
no,
you're the man.
Just very briefly to run down, since the last full town council meeting, a few things worth reporting on what's been happening at district. Firstly, council tax. We set our council tax for the forthcoming year at exactly the same as it was for the previous year. No increase in district council tax, which I hope will at least offset some of the pain caused by the massive rise at the county, but that's another matter. Alongside that, a few other things in the budget. Those of you with very long memories will remember there used to be various EU grants for various things around the country. When we left the EU, the government then replaced that with the thing that it called the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, otherwise known as UK SPF, which has funded a fair number of things recently. You'll notice we've had funding from that for various things here in Evesham as well. Well, the government has announced now that they're closing down the UK SPF as well. So that source of grant funding will disappear as from next financial year. So Wychavon had decided to at least partially replace that with a thing called the We Are Wychavon grant funding, which will basically be available for much the same kind of things, but obviously only restricted to what's here in Wychavon. So full details of that are available if you want them. I don't have them to hand, but it does mean there is a significant grant funding pot available for local projects. And then a couple of other things more locally. Riverside Centre, no major news on that. You've all seen the press releases that went out fairly recently. Everything is moving forward smoothly with that. That's pretty much all I can say. It's nice to be able to say that things are moving forward pretty smoothly with that. And finally, the bollards in the High Street and Market Square. Another thing that the District Council confirmed when setting the budget for next year is it's confirmed the funding for that, and that funding offer has been formally made to the County Council, so there is now no financial reason why those bollards cannot be installed.
Okay. John, good news. Thank you very much. And now,
question from Mark.
Okay, Emma. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, just a question. A little bit tongue-in-cheek, I will admit. It is not at Mark individually, rather at Wychavon as a Tory-run council. Well done for not increasing precept. I'm sure that will be very much appreciated. My understanding is that the county council, when it was a Tory majority, they didn't do that or by very much either. In a year's time, albeit you'll cease to exist, by not having had small incremental increases of say 1.5–2% each year, when there then has to potentially be an increase of 9 or 10%, will you then blame the new administration then?
Well, I think that's straying off the point a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's directly related to the.
But yeah, well, whatever.
Can you take that? Can you take that question
that when it
back to
comes?
Witchaven?
I can partially answer that now. Witchaven's balances are healthy. There is no need to increase council tax this year, and we have chosen not to go down the route of increasing them just because we can. There is, with local government reorganisation on the horizon, Witchaven will cease to exist in 3 years, so will the county council. The new council, which replaces it, whether that be a South Worcestershire or a whole Worcestershire, will set its own council tax for the very first time it sets its budget. We don't know yet what that will be. It is absolutely certain that it will be significantly higher than we are paying now, but that's not because it's being mismanaged now. It's simply because Witchaven has the lowest district council tax of all of the districts across Worcestershire. So when they're all amalgamated into one, even if you just average it out between them, it will inevitably go up from where we are here in Witchaven. What happens between now and then obviously depends on the economy, on government policy, on what is happening elsewhere in the world, and we can't predict the future, but we do know that Witchaven is in a healthy financial position at the moment and does not need to increase council tax. So we've chosen not to increase council tax.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bastow, have you got anything to?
Yeah, thank you. So I'll just read from here. You will have seen that an 8.9% increase in council tax was passed by the council. However, if we didn't pass the vote, it would have meant a Section 114 notice, the council version of bankruptcy. Having this would have been catastrophic. I mean, the government sending in their own civil servants and a likely rise of 10% for 3 consecutive years. We really were left between a rock and a hard place after many years of unsatisfactory Conservative financial management. But we've done the best we can to steady the ship and pass a budget that keeps us legal. Now on to more positive topics. At the same meeting, we also voted to protect farmland, invest in footpaths, invest in rural roads and conduct a feasibility study into a SEND school. We know these are important to residents, and recognising what is important to residents is why we were elected. The last month seems to have been very health focused, with myself arranging through divisional funds a first aid event at the town hall and a defibrillator installation with Evesham defibrillators. First aid event was very well attended with 29 people, leading with CPR, basic life-saving and defib skills. So thank you to the Vale of Evesham community first responders for providing such great training sessions throughout the day. I'll also be looking at putting on another one of those later this year, so do keep your eyes peeled. Evesham Defibs installed a divisional funded defib just off Charity Crescent, which will no doubt save lives, and also visited Wallace House, saw the work they do and discussed how I can help them to carry on providing their services, and that has led to a pledge from divisional funds to their centre.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions to ask? No? Okay. Item 5, Clerk's report.
Right, okay, so Town Hall, now last meeting I reported that Historic England were going to put the Town Hall on the Heritage at Risk Register. They've now told us that they can't because we are grade 2 listed instead of grade 2 star, which is disappointing, but the fund still exists, so in April we'll have a look at what terms and conditions say, still making an application. So we're not ineligible, but it's just a little bit of a setback because we're not as high priority as we would have been if we were on the Heritage Register. Tree work, we've got new inspections due to take place in the spring. This is year 1 of the next 3 years round of inspections. We'll be inspecting the trees at Batterton Brook and we'll be inspecting the trees at All Saints Church. That would be in writing. Oh yes, Ulmery scaffolding. That's going to go up imminently. They've already occupied, they've got Harris fencing around the site. That's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks to put up. It's going to be very large, so don't be stunned when you see it. But at least things have started now, so that's great. Litter pick is on the 22nd of March on Sunday. So yeah, 10 o'clock start outside Town Hall. If anyone can go, then please go along just for a bit and see what you can. That's the end of my report. 10 o'clock outside.
10 o'clock.
And that's the end of my report.
Yes.
A couple of questions for the clerk. For the last few meetings, the supplementary information for council meetings has come through on Friday. Well, one of them was 7:30 on a Friday night, 20 to 5, I think it was. Fortunately for this meeting, there's not really a huge amount to go through. I'm sorry, but can we please have it when the agenda comes out? There's a month for it to come through. I'm not sure about the statutory legal obligations. I know it should be 3 clear days, but the public are also not having access to that information. For me, this weekend, sadly, I was completely occupied for all of Saturday and Sunday with other things. I've only had a chance to scan read this, and I know it's a point that had been raised by other councillors before. So it's just a question, can we please have it on time? The other one is I attended Councillor Bastow's event, which second was an absolutely brilliant event. One of the things that I noticed there was at the end of my session, members of the public, and indeed the people doing it, said, where can we put our rubbish? There is no bin of any description in the hall, or on the landing, or anywhere else. And I would like to suggest, if it can be put on the agenda or discussed with the town hall committee, that a bin is put there. We have a caretaker. Otherwise, people are just going to dump their stuff and leave it, because there's nowhere else for them to put it. And the final thing,
I think the people that hire the hall should bring their own bag and take their little bag.
Well, with respect,
they hire the hall, they get it clean.
we're not
they
talking
leave it
about a party. We're talking,
I'm just talking about general hire hall. That's the conditions, I'm sure. And then you actually find it.
Yeah.
If they can't, how much does a bin cost?
How much does the bag cost? Sorry, Emma, we're drifting off the point here. Something else now. Concrete. Come on.
Well, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we don't supply bins for hall hire, because then it's basically usually taxpayers are paying to take away hires rubbish. There is an obligation on all hires, it's in the terms and conditions as well, that you should be providing.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, we do charge for bags, so.
The other issue was that the last 2 or 3 times I've come into the town hall, there have been chairs stacked up in the corridor between the robing room and the back end of the stairs. I don't know if they're still there because I came through the hall today.
They've always been there.
I don't care whether they've always been there.
Yeah,
You've got somebody here who is a health and safety man. That is part of.
I'm agreeing with you.
I beg your pardon?
I'm agreeing with you. They should,
Right. Oh, so I'm sorry.
They should not be there.
Yeah, I thought you said they've always been there.
They've been there. Yeah. Been going on for years.
And it seems to me highly inappropriate that somebody who does things for the town council is sent what's been shown to me quite an offensive email because they've left 2 barrels under the window, which isn't actually, well, it's causing far less of an obstruction than chairs. A beer barrel is not going to fall over and injure a member of public. Chairs stacked 10 high, pushed from the wrong direction.
I think the best thing to do, Emma, sorry to interrupt you, best thing to do, just jot this down, 10 o'clock, or put it to whoever's supposed to manage that, then we get it looked into. We get it sorted out for you, Emma. That's it. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. Any other questions? No? Okay. Next item on the agenda is reports of outside bodies. You already done them?
No.
Is there any representatives of any outside bodies that have any reports to make to the council?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so,
Yeah, the working team are putting a day together, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Any councillor is welcome to come. I think we're tackling Church Street this time, finishing off the bollards in Church Street. Even if you don't want to come and do some paint, just come along and support us, have a chat and talk to the, because it gives you a great opportunity to talk to members of the public. Because Sam and Matt will back me up here, where and Sharon, sorry, where we really do meet members of the public when we're out there doing it, and we do seem to get a lot of them passing and talking to us.
okay.
So, John, when are you doing that?
I'm looking, not this weekend coming, the weekend after. Probably the Saturday.
Yeah, okay, yes.
John, could you perhaps ask the clerk to send an email to tell us, because
Yeah, I'll inform the
have
clerk.
never had an email telling me when it's going to happen, so we can't come and support
Right.
it if we don't know it's going to take place.
I have been mentioning it quite regular at council, Emma, when we're doing it, but it's just been specifics on the dates. Because at the moment I'm doing another contract.
I've never heard
so
of the date.
I will do that. I'll inform
Thank
the
you.
clerk of the day when we're doing it, so everybody's fully aware.
I think John first just get it in with his calendar as best he can. And sometimes it's a bit
It's usually to
shorter.
do weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a good weekend. I'll go to Matt Fancy this weekend and we go out and do
Any
it.
other
Just let us know.
outside bodies want to make, yes, sorry.
Yeah, excuse me, Deputy Mayor, can I just ask John a question? Are you talking about the Saturday the 21st?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit it was on the 22nd.
Yeah, which is the day after.
So,
So,
day before. You're doing
day before, we'll be the day after.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, by then, so it can be the yeah. Okay, item 7. Minutes of the previous meeting.
So I just propose that they're correct.
Yeah, have we got a seconder for that? Yeah, all in favour? Everybody?
Sorry, I wasn't here, so I can't say.
Andy.
Sorry, I didn't realise that. I wasn't here, so I can't say.
What have I just said to you?
Minutes.
Have I?
Council meeting.
Oh,
You just
okay.
begun.
Did I?
Yeah, sorry. You're it. Sorry. Is there any abstention? Any abstention? Anybody? Yes.
I wasn't here.
No. You've got it down? The mayor wasn't here. And anybody against? No?
No.
Okay, so that's a correct record. And that passed. Right, and then the planning and estates. Planning and estates. Yes, if you would.
Mayor, commend the chamber as true and accurate.
Yeah, that's. Sorry, you've got a comment for that?
Sorry, Peter.
No, fine.
The plan application, Mr. Adrian Messon, 41 Mirstow Green, is on one and number 2. It's not Evesham South, it's Avon Ward.
Oh, it's online.
What?
No, it's Anna's, I think.
Anybody else, any other comments to make about that? Okay. Then if you were there on that night and you deemed them a correct record, could you show that? Please. Come to down second. Okay. And finances and general purposes, I could do that. So I propose there a correct record of what happened on that night, and I propose.
Bill.
A second.
You've got me down as being officer present instead of councillor.
That's it, just a correction.
Have I got a seconder, please? Yeah, seconded by Mike Aaron's. All those in favour that were there? Any abstentions? One stands. Oh, is that another one? You put your hand up.
I'll abstain, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
So that's well, if you were there on the night, that's
Okay.
and then town plan committee, chairman's away, so Councillor Tucker, will you?
Yes, I'd like to propose this as a true and accurate record.
I'll second it.
Second it, yeah. And if you were there on that night, would you? Oh, has anybody got any comments? No. If you're there on that night and deem it correct record, please show of hands. Against? Any abstentions? That's just carried. Okay, then. Thank you. Item 9 on the agenda, finance. Payments and receipts for January 2026. I'm trusting that everyone has scrolled through these figures. Has anyone any comments, please?
No.
This is all very good. Everything's correct. I'm on good this, am I?
We haven't got roll.
Everyone happy?
No.
That's okay.
Spend a lot of money, but you know.
Well, okay, so if everybody's happy with all the figures, we're just going to take a vote on this to accept them. That's correct. So I'll propose them. Have we got a seconder? Yeah. Everybody in favour of accepting them? Yeah, that's unanimous, I think. Okay, thank you very much. And item 10 we've already dealt with. Now we come on to a very topical item.
Can I raise a point of order?
Oh yes, sorry.
On that item. I noticed that we've been given information relating to that item on the pink paper.
Yeah.
I can't see any request that it goes into closed session, this thing. But I would like to suggest, as the only part that is on this pink paper is on the first page with the first bullet point, for anybody who can see it, where it starts authorised with that word. That's actually the only part of this which should be confidential. The cost of a report as outlined on this pink paper it is not confidential and should be in the public domain. So I would just like to ask you, Mr. Mayor, that this item is not put into confidential session. We just don't make any reference to that first sentence.
We've already agreed it anyway. We've already agreed it anyway.
Well, the bit that's yeah, exactly. So there's no reason for this to be on pink paper at all.
Oh, you should have one of these as well. They do have things for me for the rest of the
Okay. Is that a proposal, Emma, that we put into private session? Is that
No,
a
it's a
proposal?
proposal that we do not put it into private session.
Okay.
Because the reason I'm saying that is because this is on pink paper.
Yeah.
Pink paper means that it's pertaining to confidential session.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It was, well, it wasn't overlooked, but I think the situation is with this, if everybody's read this report, when we get down to paragraph 3, forgetting all the bits before, paragraph 3, there was quite a big discussion about council funds and how much it's all going to cost and everything else. Is it going to be worth doing it? Whatever.
Oh, that bit.
Paragraph 3 just absolutely kills the whole project, really, because
but what you're discussing, are we saying now that we are discussing this item in public session rather than closed session?
Yeah.
Have the other
So do we need to vote on that as this is on pink paper?
Yeah, you have to read out of a particular document, a particular phrase where it says.
If we're staying in public session, I will
say. I did comment that we're staying in public session to do this.
Yeah, but we have to vote for that because it's on pink paper.
No, we don't. No.
Sorry.
Go on.
Mark.
I would just add that while I'm all in favour of transparency, any reference to any public reference to matters that are on the confidential documents would require us, or any reference to either particularly names and locations of properties that are mentioned on the confidential documents, we would need to go into private session for that, because that's still confidential matter. If all you want to do is talk about whether or not we go ahead with the project as previously discussed, you don't need to go into confidential session for that. But this, what is on the pink paper is confidential, even if we hold the discussion in public, and what is mentioned on here cannot be placed into the public domain. If you want to discuss the numbers, in the detailed contents of this, specifically including potential locations and costs, that will need to go into private session.
Can I just come back to Mark, not disagreeing with what he's saying. The point that I'm trying to make is the cost of what is referred to on bullet point 1, okay, is something which is commercially sensitive, which gives a lawful reason for it to be in confidential session. The cost of the other thing, which is in paragraph 4, does not fulfil the remit of being just because something is put on confidential papers does not in itself make it lawful for a council to hide it from the public. So the public has got every right to know how much this report as on there is going to cost, and then as a justification as to why the first point doesn't take place. Well, I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to have somebody then report.
Okay, audibly, what we'll do is we'll put this into private session and that's it. Okay, that's the end of that. So we need to vote on that, then we put it into private session.
Can I just say something before? Like, there's other parties involved in this negotiation, and they're not. What you don't want is people's emails going around on social media saying what this negotiation, and the other party in the negotiation doesn't even know a decision. So it can't be anything but confidential. You can't, when you're negotiating with something, go public on a decision without informing them beforehand what the decision is made. It's just.
Well,
it
are
would
we
just
making
be.
a decision? Because there's nothing on the agenda that says
but
we're making a decision.
you're going public on reports. It's just until the negotiations are closed, you should keep it confidential.
I'd like to take this meeting now into closed session. So I'll go ask all members of the public to leave.
No, we stopped that because we didn't
sorry, we've got to put it to the vote
Number
first.
7 on the back page, they
Yeah,
want
but
a
it's not on the
decision
actual
on it.
agenda.
I know, but it's saying they wanted us
I
to
know, but
agree.
it's not on the agenda.
Okay. Can we? I'll propose it, and we're going to second it, please.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Yeah. All those in favour? Okay. Against? Abstaining? Okay.
Can we have that minuted with the 6 abstentions? Because very often it's not.
Yeah, it will be. Could you put your hands up, all the abstainers, please?
Number 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Bill knows it. There's only 2 views on those mistakes. I don't want to be on the part of it.